All right, well, hello everyone. It's Naweed again, and today we have a very special guest, a very special interview. We have Mr. Super Mario Bros. Himself, our good friend Niftski over here. Wave to everyone
It's good.
watching. If there's a Mario world record in Super Mario Bros., he probably has it. First and foremost, how are you doing today?
Doing great, man. I can't complain. Had a great day today. Hit the gym, did some practice, all that. The usual.
That's good to hear. Is that a Guinness World Record behind you, by the way? That's kind of crazy.
Yeah, it is. It is. I got a plaque sent by them, so
Oh,
super cool.
wow. Was that a recent thing or something you've had for a while?
I've had it for I think around 2 months now, so it is fairly recent. Yeah, and it, I don't think anyone's seen it like publicly, like mounted on my wall. So that'll be definitely a
Okay.
new addition to when I stream again.
Okay, I guess we'll have a world premiere on this video for that then. That's pretty sick.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll leave SMB1 for later, but I just wanted to sort of go through more general things like what you like to do outside of the hobby of speedrunning, any other like pastimes or things you enjoy to do outside of speedrunning or any sports or anything like that.
Yeah, so as I said, I go to the gym now. I actually go like 6 days a week, so I've been like really consistent with that. So I do
Wow.
that. That's most of my free time outside of speedrunning. Other than that, it's like talking to friends. Some days I play basketball, which I haven't really been consistent with like recently, but I do play basketball sometimes. As far as like sports goes, or like during the NBA season, I'll follow basketball. I'll follow the NBA. So that's usually like my pastime. Other than that, just mostly just chilling.
Okay, that's cool. Do you have a favorite team to root for in the NBA?
Um, I'm not sure if I actually have a favorite team. It honestly like flip flops a lot. I can't really say I have a favorite currently, unfortunately.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair. I'm the same. Like I cheered for the Raptors that one year where they were popping off, but
Yeah,
I think ever since then they haven't really been at that level. So I don't really have any
yeah,
favorites either. Um,
got you. Yeah.
yeah. So any, are you a musical person at all? Do you have any favorite songs or artists that you want to shout out?
I want to shout out Juice World. That's who I've been really listening to a lot. Like honestly, the past like 2 years or so, I've just been in a Juice World phase. So
Okay.
shout outs to Juice World. I listen to a lot of like hip hop, rap. Sometimes I switch it up, listen to like white girl pop stuff like that, like so
Okay.
like Katy Perry, Taylor Swift, uh,
That's valid.
stuff
That's
like
valid.
that. But yeah, yeah.
What about any streamers? Are there any streamers that you like to tune into, whether inside the SMB1 community or outside, just in general?
Um, Lakuki definitely a go-to as far as SMB1 goes. He's been streaming any percent attempts very, very frequently. So I always like to tune into his streams. That's really been there hasn't been a lot of like SMB1 streams recently other than his that I tune into. Um as far as other streams go, I like to watch like Green Sweegie when he does like grinds.
The
I
GOAT.
always watch him a lot. Yeah, yeah, yeah. The
Yeah.
goat. I watch him a ton. I'll watch like some other SM64 streamers. Like I used to watch Liam when he was grinding a lot. People
Yeah.
like that. And then more recently, I've kind of been following Shift's grind of Battle for Bikini Bottom, SpongeBob. That's been pretty
Ah, okay.
entertaining to watch as well.
Yeah, he's been doing
But
that one
yeah,
for a while, right?
yeah, he has. He's been at it for like a decade, just continuously pushing it lower and lower. It's crazy.
Yeah, the same game, right? It's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
So back to SMB1, is there sort of a category that you find the most fun to speedrun or even within the category extensions?
People might call me crazy, but I think my favorite category is any percent. A lot of people say at a top level it's just torture, and it is. It's true. Because of how much like just how optimized it is and how many runs reset. For example, like in 4.2 where you have to do lightning 4.2, which is like 16 to 20 frame perfects in that level alone. It is
Hmm.
torture, but just something about any percent I've always loved the grind aspect of it. And I kind of just like enjoy it more that that's optimized now, if anything, which is like kind of the opposite of what other people think that have grinded the category. But a close second is definitely Warpless. That's just it's just so satisfying doing Bowser kills and the tricks in that category as well. So definitely second would be Warpless.
Yeah, any percent's pretty simple, right? Just 8 levels, just the same sort of frame
Yeah.
rule. You know what's gonna happen,
Mhm.
like in terms of like enemy positions and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I think. Would you say any percent or warpless, one or the other, is more difficult?
80% for sure as of right now. Wink,
Mm-hmm.
wink.
Wink, wink. Yeah, we'll go over those two categories in a bit.
Yeah.
So going off of that, I guess, when was the first time that you really considered going for a world record, and what actually was your first world record in Super Mario Bros?
I think my first record was a category extension, which is minus world US, and it wasn't an untied world record because at the time it was, I think, tied by at least like two people at the time. But you literally just do two tricks and then get like a perfect water section in that category. So it's fairly simple. But my first like main category world record was a miscellaneous category called minus world ending, and um it was basically, it was pretty early on. I think it was actually in like 2019, around the time, like the same year I got into the game, when I got that world record. And I mean, I really went for it because I kind of just progressed and knew I could get it. So I just started going for it, and then eventually I got it.
Okay, okay. Yeah, Minus World is definitely a niche one because, like, I
Yeah,
guess
yeah.
I'll go over in a bit. I have another question about Minus World US, but yeah, it's there's only a few levels, so you can't really. So the record is has like a huge list of people tied for first. It's kind of crazy.
Hmm.
You don't really see
Yeah,
that
yeah.
in any other categories. So when it comes to a grind for a world record, is there a specific practice routine you like to follow? Is there like how do you go about setting your goals and going for them?
Yeah, so I always just try to practice every level at least a little bit, but mostly it's practicing either the hardest levels or my weakest points. So when I start a grind, I'll really target like for any percent, for example, like obviously the hardest level on that entire run is Lightning 4-2. Um, that's the hardest trick in the entire run. So I'll just spend hours upon hours just grinding that level in particular. Or another thing I like to do is just practice late game. So if I'm not consistent with early game, at least I know I have late game on lock. So if I have a run to late game, I know that I can like be confident with my ability to finish it out and potentially clutch it out. So it's a lot of late game practice and just practicing the hardest levels and my weak points.
Yeah, that totally makes sense because like I imagine you get through a lot of early game like pretty consistently, but then late game is just waiting in the latter half sort
Yeah.
of to steal a run or something.
Yeah,
Uh,
exactly.
so you've done runs on both console and emulator. Is there one that you prefer over the other? And could you give some pros and cons for each?
Yeah, so even though I've played console, I always have stuck with emulator, and I do have a console like set up ready to play, but I've always stuck with emulator. And the only reason why is that it's just more comfortable for me to play on keyboard, and it's mostly just the comfortability, and also with controller, it's just really unreliable sometimes. Like for take Kuki for example, one of the like top runners of Mario. Like he always has dealt with controller issues like for years, and it really holds him back from like just being able to play the game properly. So one advantage with keyboard is that you don't have to like deal with all that. Like I always know he's always taking apart his controller and stuff. And I've also
Hmm.
dealt with the same thing just playing on controller myself. But with keyboard, it's like fairly consistent. You don't have to take it apart. And if it breaks, you just buy a new one and it's like literally the exact same feel. Whereas with controller, you can just buy like a bunch of controllers and they'll all have different feels. So that's the main thing for me is just the comfortability and reliability of keyboard over controller. Um, so that's what's made me stick with emulator this entire time. And some pros and cons is that on emulator, there's at least like a frame of input delay compared to if you're playing on OG hardware on CRT. So that is one con. As far as like, there's also, I mean, the same is like true with keyboard, but on controller, there's also some tricks that are just easier. Believe it or not, a lot of people like think that keyboard is just fully easier for everything, but it's honestly, besides the comfortability, it's not actually like easier for everything. Like I still have like the same consistency with like a majority of the tricks on controller. Um, it's mostly just the comfortability is the main thing. But another con with keyboard is that, I mean, obviously, it's not really perceived well beyond the community. So there's a lot of like OG hardware elitists that are like, oh, like you can't do this on original game. You can't like do this on original hardware or on controller. So it's not really perceived well for the like broader public when you play on keyboard, and I've experienced that like firsthand. But other than that, those are really the main like pros and cons. Like, I mean, there's a reason I've always stuck with emulator besides the like one frame of input delay, and it's that I've always just been used to keyboard. Like growing up, I used to play on keyboard, like playing like flash games and stuff. So that's just what I'm like really accustomed to compared to controller, and I can still play on controller. Like even if it wasn't for my emulator world record, I still have the fastest time like ever on original hardware. So like no matter what, people can't say like, oh, I'm only good because I play on keyboard. But like that's really the main reason. As I've said, like I was just stuck with keyboard the entire time.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with pretty much everything. Like when I used to speedrun SMB1, it was all on emulator because I didn't really want to invest
Yeah.
in one. So emulator's like right there. So why not? Play it on
Yeah, exactly.
keyboard. Uh, I find that like one frame inputs are easier on keyboard, but that might just be me. I've never really tried it on an
Oh
NES
yeah.
controller before. Um, but yeah, and on original console, more on that. Like I saw you had a competition recently, and you got like a 454
Mhm.
live in front of a crowd. That was pretty insane,
Yeah.
right? That was on the original console
Yeah,
as
yeah.
well.
That was definitely one of the most craziest like things I've ever done like in this entire game.
Yeah, and it was like just one frame away from 455, right? It was just barely a 54.
Yeah. Yeah. .99 454.998. So
Dot
literally
nine
two
nine.
thousandths of a second
Yeah, and I'll link it down in the
away.
description for people who want to watch it. Check that out for sure. Okay, so let's talk more about world records, and I'll just go by each of the six main categories. So,
Mhm.
firstly, in July 2023, you got what is now the current record for Warpless and broke the 1855 barrier. How did it feel to finally break that barrier?
Oh, it was crazy because like you said, like 454 is like obviously in as of any percent, it's like the final second barrier. And it was cool to like match the final like second with like any percent. So 454 and 1854. So that was, first of all, I thought that was really cool, but that run is also really special because it marks the first run in Warpless where every single Bowser castle level is task tied besides 8-4. So every single Bowser kill is like absolutely perfect. And that was the first time that's ever been done in that category. So that was also like a big thing for the category. So it kind of is like the start of a new era to where you can't improve the castle levels. Literally, it's just like improving it based on like how many FPGs you have in a run, or like full FPGs even, which is maybe going to be introduced soon. Wink. But yeah,
Yeah, that's all you can really do, right? At this point, like how optimized it is.
yeah, yeah. It's
Yeah.
literally just basically hard trick spam on top of task side Bowser kills. So
Hmm. So, what are your goals for the future of the category? I know you were mentioning earlier about what you had in mind.
so 1849, I'm planning on starting that grind within a few days, as of right now. And that's gonna be like always with Warpless, it's been 1 second improvement at a time, or not even that. Like some world records are like a frame roll improvement, so it's like zero point 0.3 seconds. But I'm going for a 5 second jump, so I'm literally like basically, at least for now, like trying to kill the category. And the route would include 2 full FPGs, which has never been done in a Warpless run, not even one. Unless you count BBG as a full FPG, because technically is. But 2 full FPGs, 6 FPGs, and then all task tie Bowser kills. And that'll save 5 seconds over the current world record. And it'll be the first ever 18-4X. And Warpless is almost certainly never going to go past 18-4X range. So that's probably going to be the final 10-second barrier that's ever achieved in that category as well. So it's going to be a huge record if I get this.
Yeah, for sure. And I saw you had a 183X, I think, but that was sort of just like a splice demonstration. That's probably
Yeah,
something
yeah.
that's not really going to happen in one full go.
Yeah, so I think the human sum of best right now is like 1838, which is like the best time anyone could get with the strats that have been like achieved full level, but I never even see that happening. Like 18-3X full game. I can never see that happening at all.
Moving on now to the next category. So, how much does the 454.565 in any percent mean to you?
That is the just really that entire run is just the most impressive thing I've ever done in this whole game. Like I'll still say it, like every any percent world record is just as optimized as it already is it's already like crazy to like set a time lower than that. But yeah, I mean, 2 fast excels at 8.4 on top of literally just matching every single frame roll is a very, very crazy run. And I mean, I'm still extremely proud of that run, but as proud as I am of it, I know I could still beat it. So I will eventually be pushing to beat it even further. But that run still, like to this day, most impressive run. My most prestigious for sure as well.
Yeah, one category at a time, right? You have your eyes set on another
Yeah,
one,
yeah.
right? Yeah.
Hmm.
So more on that record plaque behind you. Is that for any percent or warpless or which
Yeah,
category
it's
is
for
that?
any percent.
Oh, okay.
So it is
Cool.
it is for my current world record, 454.565.
It'll be obsolete soon, I bet. Coming soon.
Fingers crossed. Either hopefully by like Lakuki or a Verge or one of the other top runners as well, because I always like to see like other community members like shine, you know. I don't want to be the only one beating my world record. I love competition, so hopefully like one of them can beat it as well. That would be like it would be a really fun competition.
Yeah, shout outs to them for sure. I've been tuning into a
Mm-hmm.
Verge's streams too. I'll leave a link to their channels in
Yeah.
the description for you guys who are curious. Okay, more on any percent. Can you walk us through what the perfect 8-4 looks like, the 44.227? What does it take to get to that level?
It takes just a lot of just grinding every single room, really. For starters, the very beginning of the level, um it's called 8B first room, which is the most optimal frame you can complete first room in. So what people do is they get a controller, and this is generally done on controller. Like I've done it on keyboard, a few others have done it on keyboard, but the easiest way to do it is on controller. You have to do the inputs right, nothing, right, left, right, all on consecutive frames. So in order to do that, we hold right on the D-pad and then we flick left twice. So the first frame of the left flick is a frame of nothing, and then the second left flick registers left. So it's like you're holding down right already, and then it's right, nothing, and then right, left, right. So it's like a really fast double flick, but it's like super inconsistent to do even on controller. So you're basically just praying like you get the frame of nothing in the left flick, because you have to actually flick with less force the first time to try to not register left, and to just have the D-pad like kind of stabilize in the middle to get the frame of nothing. And then the second flick needs to be like harder so it actually does register left. So even those inputs on controller are just like, as easy as like the double flick is, it's just super inconsistent to just do and to get the inputs down. So you have to do like a perfect fast accel, or like a slightly imperfect fast accel technically. So you have to do left, right plus A with that grip, and then you have to do the double flick and then just pray it works. So that's all just at the start of the run, like at the start of the room, like the first second. And then the rest is just perfect accels all the way through, a perfect wall jump. You need to do stuff like in second and last room, you need to do what's called a falling fast accel. So you need to like you need to do like right, left, right, like super fast. So even like if you're a great player at like, just timing inputs, like this requires like physical skill. So you have to like move your fingers fast enough to where it registers like RLR, like on consecutive frames. It doesn't actually have to be RLR straight up, but it does in third room. But like for falling fast accel, you need to do like at least right, left, nothing right at worst, or right, nothing, left, right at worst. Like there has to be like at most one frame of nothing in between those inputs, or else you don't accelerate fast enough to get the optimal frame. So you have to, like on controller, people like move their thumb like super fast on the D-pad. On keyboard, it's even more complicated because you have to like release right and then like flick left. Like it's just super fast movement. And like I said, in third room, you have to do a perfect fast accel, but you have to do what's called a TAS accel. So you do another accel after the perfect accel. And that actually does require right, left, right this time. Instead of like, you can't afford to do any frames of nothing in between there. You have to do exactly right, left, right. And then the turnaround room is called frame 63. That's the second hardest, if not the first hardest. It's debatable on if frame 63 full rooms harder or easier. It's really subjective, but it's very close in difficulty to 8B first room, because you have to do like that task accel. You have to do R, L, and then A on consecutive frames to like manipulate subspeed to stop a frame sooner. And then the reverse fast accel inputs back, where you excel back into the pipe and jump into the pipe. That saves 5 frames, and that's like also like super difficult. Like a lot of people can't do those inputs on their own. It's like right plus A left. So it's a lot of like perfect left to right, right to left switches just all throughout the entire run. And then water section's fairly easy to do perfectly, honestly, at a top level. And then last stream is another falling fast accel. So you have to do all of that all in one run. It's like, I don't remember. I think there was a frame perfect count for it. I think like Trio 5, who's a top runner of the game, shout out to him as well. I think he has a video on like how hard test height 4 is and like how many frame perfects it is. And it's a crazy amount. Like there's a reason, even to this day, only me and Lukuki are the only ones who have ever gotten task high in 8.4 because it's just incredibly difficult.
Yeah, for sure. There's like multiple fast accels in like almost every room, right? So a lot of
Yeah.
flicking from left to right.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not even including like 8-1 fast accel, or there was one more fast accel, right? In the run? Or is it just 8-1, I think? 8-1 and then
8.1, and sometimes to back up Lightning 4.2, you need one.
oh,
Sometimes in
okay.
4.2. But yeah, an
Hmm.
8.1, and then the rest of the levels don't need it besides 8.4 if you're going for a fast 8.4.
Okay. So needless to say, it's gonna be tough to save those extra zero point 0.3 seconds then.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
So okay, so that's all I have for any percent. So we'll move on to glitchless now. So how about the glitchless world record of 502.685? How optimized was that run, and how much do you think it can still improve?
That run is extremely optimized. Another category where I have task tied to 8.4. And similar to any percent, the hardest level in that run is also 4.2, where you have to do glitchless lightning 4.2, where you have to climb. So obviously, with no glitches, you don't do wrong warp. So you have to like reveal the vine and then climb up the invisible coin as fast as possible, and then grab the vine like and do that as fast as possible. And the movement to do that is like very tight. Like you have only within a few frames to like play with there, and it's like very difficult. There's honestly um not that a lot of people have tried glitchless lightning 4.2 because there's a lot more people that have tried normal lightning 4.2, but glitchless lightning 4.2 there have been less people that have achieved that than actual lightning 4.2 with glitches. So um it's not like a super accurate comparison, but it does go to show like that is like an extremely hard trick, and that is like the trick in the run that's the hardest. As far as 8.4, the 8.4, I like right off the bat, I lost like I think 3 frames in first stream, but I saved him back because I had an unoptimal fast excel, but I saved him back in like second room and then throughout the rest of the run. So I was barely able to clutch the 502.6, which is what I was like trying to get. But as far as like optimizing it further, the TAS is like a 502.4. It's like a high dot 4. So it's about zero point 0.2 seconds from being absolutely perfect, which is closer than actual any percent. So glitchless, you can do like task excel, falling fast excel. I mean, those are the IL, those are literal IL tricks, but to push the category further, it's definitely at the point where like we could reasonably introduce those tricks. Um, and when I go for record again, it'll probably be either a better 502.6 or maybe I think eventually I do want a 502.5, but I think that's where I would retire because that's the point where you need at least one like task excel. So it's very optimized if it gets to that point. But yeah.
Okay, yeah, that seems almost as optimized as any percent then. I guess more
Mhm.
optimized technically, right? To the task, like compared with the task.
Compared to the task, yeah, but I'd say like in terms of difficulty, definitely not as optimized as like actual 90%.
Hmm. Okay, so that's that for glitchless. And then next, I wanted to go into minus world ending a little bit. So, how much potential do you
Mhm.
feel that that category has? Do you think one day we'll ever see a sub 230?
Unfortunately, the TAS is capped at a 230.103 right now for RTA rules, so that's like no left plus right. I think left plus right is even like 2 frames away. It's like 230.02 or something. So it's like just on the edge of 229. But yeah, so 229 as of right now isn't possible, and it's likely not possible at all. But the current world record is, like I said, the TAS for no left plus right is 230.103, and the current world record is 230.219. So I think if my memory serves correctly, that's 7 frames away from
Yeah.
TAS tie. So, and 2 frames away from 230.1, which would be the final like 10th second barrier. So it is very optimized, just all around. Like task tied at -3, the usual, and a really good -3 clip with fast XL, and like just to improve that on its own, by either the clip or like doing a falling fast XL to save another frame, it would be like incredibly difficult. So that category is definitely one of my most optimized, though. That's like, it would be extremely hard for me to even beat as well.
Yeah, for sure. And would you say like the -3 clip right before the axe grab is the main part that needs to be optimized still?
Yeah, so literally the only frame you can save before that is, like I said, falling fast XL. So there's only 1 frame to save before the clip. As for the clip, you can actually approach the wall. So normally you would get the clip in 4 jumps, and you would need 4 jumps to fully get in the wall before you can start running right. But there's actually an approach that I actually found to where you approach the wall at a slightly different angle and you can get it in only 3 jumps. So that's like an improvement you can do, just doing 1 less jump. And if you do like that on top of like perfect like 15 hertz mashing, and then at the very end, right before you jump out of the wall, you do right, left, right on consecutive frames. So a TAS XL out of the wall, you save an additional frame. So you could do 3 frame perfect jumps in the wall with a super complicated angle, and then right, left, right out of the wall. And if you do falling fast XL at the start, that would be enough to TAS tie. But doing that all in one, like, I've messed with it a little bit, and even getting like the 3 jump clip is like extremely difficult. Like it looks easy, but it's not easy at all. So that's like a super difficult part of it. And to even do that is like crazy. But I think the perfect IL, or like the world record IL for -2, is either like, I think it's 2 frames off of TAS, maybe 3. So I've done an IL where it's like 3 frames off of TAS that would get like a 230 dot, like a mid 230.1. But that's the best I've ever been able to do, even in IL settings. So it would be like extremely difficult to match TAS, but we could get within a few frames of it pretty reasonably, I'd say.
Mm-hmm. So there's that 1 frame and the falling fast XL, and then the other 6 would be from the 3 jump clip then.
Yeah, and then the extra TAS XL out of the wall after that for the additional frame. But yeah.
Oh, okay. So 5 technically from the clip and then 1 right after the clip then? Oh, okay.
Yeah. So 5 from the clip, RLR to save the 6th frame, and then at the start the falling fast XL to save the 7th.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that one's pretty optimized, but not as optimized as Minus World US, which is what I wanted to go into next. Has that category reached its limit, do you think?
I do think so. So that category actually found a new time save, I think about 3 years ago or so, if my memory serves correctly. And funnily enough, you slow down just like a little bit, like by a few subpixels, and it's enough to save a single frame, because it's something with how the whirlpools work. Like when Mario's like moving through the whirlpool, on certain like subpixel strings, he doesn't move as fast. But if you manipulate like your positioning, you can go through the whirlpool like slightly faster. So yeah, that's the time save. It's a single frame save that was saved. A tasser named Periwinkle, I believe, is the one who found it, where you just slow down just a little bit and you save a single frame. And GTAs was the first person to complete it perfectly. And then Lakuki got it after, and then I got it third. But that category I don't think can be improved at all. It's like I'd say it's perfect for sure.
Yeah, it's cool to see the 22-way tie there. It's pretty insane.
22. I actually did not know that many people had that, so that's pretty cool.
It's crazy. I think I remember when it was like before the frame save. I don't remember how many people it was, but I don't think it was that many. And then the frame save got discovered.
It definitely wasn't 22 before then. It was probably like a little less than 10, I'd say, I think, before that frame save was discovered. But yeah.
Mm-hmm. And lastly, for categories, how much further do you think that the Allstars records could improve the any percent and Warpless Allstars?
So, any percent Allstars, I hopefully actually like before the end of the year or somewhat soon, I do want to go for 454 Allstars. I have had my eyes set on that world record and improving that further for a little bit now. So hopefully I'll get around to that probably after the Warpless grind. But yeah, 454 Allstars, very possible. And 453 Allstars, definitely very possible as well. And I think that's the point where I would want to retire with Allstars after like 453. It would be very optimized at that point. Not like as optimized as actual any percent, but kind of getting close, I'd say at that point, because there's like a hard trick in every level. And then you would need to play like a really good 8-4, I think, too. But 453 Allstars, I definitely want to achieve eventually as well. But as of like a time I want to get somewhat soon is 454 for sure. And it would be cool, like just knowing, even like sometime in the future, just knowing that Allstars record's faster than the actual any percent world record, especially if it's like 453. Everyone always jokes about like, oh, 453, is it possible? Is it possible? We know it is actually possible in that version of the game. And to get it would kind of just be like, mostly like just bragging rights, if anything, but it would also just be like a super optimized run, like a super cool barrier to break as well.
Yeah, kind of like carpetless in Mario 64, where it was a meme for years until it actually like became a real thing, and then people just started doing it.
Exactly.
So, is there a trick within any percent or Warpless that you want to implement first, or is it just sort of a bunch of like flagpole glitches or FPGs, for example, that you want to add into the run like at the same time?
8-3, I think, has the most time save right now for any percent Allstars. There's actually a triple frame rule save. If you just do FPG, if you like, so in that version of the game, in certain levels, if you hit a mushroom, Mario will snap to the right side of the flagpole, which saves time. And it's based on like if you hit a power up throughout the level. So if you do an FPG setup that's a little bit more complicated, where you control your subpixels while you hit the mushroom block, and then do FPG like on one of the first frames of 242 IGT, which if you don't know, a 243 on the IGT gets fireworks, which it gets 3 fireworks, so it's unoptimal. It's what you want to avoid. But if you get flagpole glitch with 242 on one of the first frames, you actually save 2 frame rolls over no FPG. So it's like there's an easy time save there. You can save 2 frame rolls over world record. And then after that, for 454, you would just need like either a really fast 8-4 or one more frame roll save, which it would probably be one more frame roll save. And then that's all it would take for 454. But full FPGs, you can't actually do BBG in that level because it soft locks you. So there's not the option for full FPGs, unfortunately. Even if you were to do like a full FPG setup, it unfortunately soft locks you because the game's a little more advanced. Like it knows you're not like in the castle, so you kind of just soft lock if you do a full FPG. But it would basically just be FPG spam or like hard trick spam. But for Warpless, I forgot to mention, eventually, I think the record's 1942, if my memory serves correctly, right now by me. I want to push it to 19.3x, so it'd be a 3-second time save, and I'd like to settle on like that as my like final, like that's the time I can like retire on 19.3x. So that would be 3 seconds saved. It would definitely be like a few FPGs, and faster Bowser kills as well, most likely. But yeah, like 19.3x, I definitely want to get someday, and I'll probably push it like a second at a time. But I also might just go straight for 1939, just like I'm kind of going straight for like 18.4x and Warpless soon. So I might just take a huge jump if I really feel like it. But yeah, that's really it for those two categories. Really just FPG spam or like other like hard trick spam to lower it at this point.
Yeah, definitely. Going from Warpless to Warpless Allstars makes a lot of sense considering they're very similar and it's kind of like transferring your momentum from one to the other, right?
Yeah. Yeah, for the most part, I'd say.
Okay, so that's it for categories. So now just talking about the separate categories between PAL and NTSC. So PAL was added in 2022, and do you think you would be interested in trying PAL someday, or if you already have, how has that been so far?
Yeah, so I actually have on my goals list to get PAL any percent Warpless record. So hopefully I'll eventually get around to doing that. I don't currently have a lot of motivation to do it because I'm kind of focused on like Warpless and then like probably different categories after that. But I definitely want to do that. Hopefully by the end of the year or just eventually. But right now, I do have 6 out of 6 NTSC main category world records. But to truly get like the full main category sweep, people say like, oh, I need to get like the PAL world records too, because that would be like 8 out of 8, because there's technically those two regions as well. So I would want to eventually get those world records for sure. And I think for Warpless, a sub 20 hasn't been achieved yet. So I think my goal for Warpless would be to get a sub 20. I actually don't know how difficult it is, but from what I've heard, it's not like extremely crazy difficult. So that is one record I would like to get. And a time for that record, I'd like to get sub 20. No, it would be nice to like break that barrier in PAL.
Yeah, for sure. I know that FPG is much easier in that compared to NTSC because you can just sort of run into the block and clip into it, just kind
Yeah.
of out of nowhere.
Yeah, and then there's also like the full FPGs, but they're like super complicated. Like you need like left, right on consecutive frames. So you would do like the controller D-pad double flick for that, but you would want like kind of similar to AB first room, but you would want like both left inputs to register that time. So that's actually what you need if you want to get a sub 5 in PAL. Is you would need, I think, at least 2, maybe 3 of those full FPGs, but they're like so incredibly difficult that like no one's done it in a run yet. So for right now, it's IL only. I do actually have task tie sum of best for PAL. I think it's like a 452.2 or something. So it is better than NTSC. So it is possible technically to beat SMB1 even faster than like the 454.265. But you would need to play on PAL region. And PAL, I will say, just in general, is definitely not as enjoyable to play as NTSC. So I wouldn't be like largely motivated to push that category. It's also just really difficult when you have like the full FPGs and then the inconsistencies with like the flicks if you're playing on controller. But I would maybe like to push that to sub 5 someday in any percent as well. Like it would be really cool to break that barrier. But I would definitely have to like do a lot of practice with like the powerful FPGs if I went for that.
Yeah, and there's not that much, like you said, the competition is sort of part of the motivation to play or pursue a certain category, and
Mm-hmm.
PAL doesn't have that as much, of course, as NTSC.
Right. Yeah.
And of course, like the slower frame rate kind of takes the fun out of it a little bit. Like I think it's F50, right? 50 point something
Yeah.
FPS.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I haven't speedrun PAL. I don't plan on it either, or I haven't actually ran PAL on anything. But so moving on from that, do you have any tips for players that want to get into speedrunning Super Mario Bros? They that may be interested in it but sort of hesitant to try it out because there's a lot of sort of jargon to learn and glitches to learn.
Yeah. I would recommend just there are pretty good tutorials on like even like 5OX safe strats. I know Manyland has a tutorial on like 503 with like completely safe strats, and there's also like Darbian and Cosmic Sub 5 tutorial. So if you want to get into the game and get like a pretty good time, I definitely highly recommend those videos. Other than that, the main place for like resources and just help in general would be the Super Mario Bros. Speedrunning Discord server. So that's where a lot of people like go in to like ask questions, and then people can answer their questions, stuff like that. So that's also, I'd say those two are like the main things. If you really want to like get into speedrunning this game and just like need the resources and like want to learn how to do it, I would say those two places are really good. And that's really it. I mean, just those are two great places. You could just ask around about like strategies you want to do if you want to like go for a specific time. People can really help you in the Discord server, in the speedrun Discord server. Just they can help you like know what strats to go for in your run and stuff like that. So I'd say definitely get involved in the community. Research like the strats you want to do, and I think those are pretty good resources. There's also some resources on the speedrun.com page, but I think mostly it's just the community Discord where you can really get a head start in like learning the game and stuff.
Yeah, for sure. I'll leave a link to the speedrunning server in the description below for anyone interested in getting a head start. And any other speedrunners that you want to shout out at all? We've already talked about Kuki and Trio 5, but are there any others that you want to shout out?
Yeah, really a bunch of my friends, Eyeball, Maximum, King of Johnny Boy, who is he's been like a big figure and just improving like RTAs like making task tricks RTA viable. So King of Johnny Boy, he's really the one that unlocked Lightning 4-2. And then a lot of the tricks I'm about to go for my 1849 grind in Warpless, he found like most of like the biggest for like the full FPGs and Lightning 4-2 for any percent. Like he's found very RTA viable like setups for that. So huge shout outs to King of Johnny Boy. Who else? I think I said Maximum, Smith. Really just you know who you are. The people who I talk to on a daily basis, so like now Sawyer, Manyland, Hits Crits. Those are a few, just to name a few. Sorry if I'm forgetting anyone, but yeah, that just a lot of those people is who I usually like voice call with, and you know, we motivate each other to push each other even further in speedrunning. So those are the main people, and yeah, Dylan Linder as well. I don't think I mentioned him.
I also noticed that you have a couple of TASes under your belt as well, not only just single segment speedruns, but what are those categories that you've tasked in again?
So I have minus world ending, no left plus right tasks. I think I was the one who improved that to where it is right now. Allstars, any percent no left plus right. I improved that. There is an Allstars. All I'll say right now is that there is an Allstars left plus right task in the works, and that's all I'll say. Hopefully, will be uploaded fairly soon as well. But that's also an improvement to the current tasks of that game or of that category. What else? I have like other kind of like ROM hack tasks. I think one was like Super Mario Untold, I believe, was the ROM hack. I made a pretty nice task of that. That was actually like a really fun task to make as well. What else? It's really those are really the main ones. I don't know if I'm forgetting anything else. Like I know I made like minus world ending human theory tasks a while ago. I think it was like a few frames off tasks, the current no left plus right tasks. But yeah, I think those are the main ones. Oh yeah,
That's cool.
and then I had one with Sawyer. I tasked with Sawyer a few years back. It was Air, the ROM hack Air, which it's obsolete now, but that was like a really fun task to make as well. Found a lot of time saved there as well, so it was really fun.
And how was the sort of jump from RTA to TAS? Was it just sort of like a matter of importing a movie into a TAS editor, or did you have to go through sort of a difficulty curve of learning how TAS editors work, or what was that like?
Um, Funnily enough, before I started RTA runs, I actually started out kind of tasking a little bit. So I already had like prior knowledge before I even got into like RTA speedruns. But those tasks along the way, I definitely learned a lot more. I also want to shout out Kriller37 because he's a major tasker of this game. He also helped with like improving any percent and the viability of those tricks for example, he found how to make task 8.2 a lot easier. He found that you can do task 8.2 without fast excel, and you can also we used to like kind of YOLO the BBG, but he found like an actual consistent setup for getting the BBG optimally. So huge shout out to Kriller. And then he also found the current 8.3 FPG setup we use in any percent runs. He's the one who showed me kind of more how to task using task editor, and he also like kind of taught me about like RAM watch values, which is like really just going into like the depths of the game, like what you don't actually see like on screen when you're playing the game. It's like hidden values and stuff. He taught me more about that. Also took a lot of inspiration from Happily, so shout outs to Happily as well. Definitely like the goat tasser.
Yeah, shout outs to them for sure. I'll link their channels as well. So RTA you started in around 2019, was it, you said?
Yeah, so I made my speedrun.com account like I think February 2019, and I started doing runs a little bit like mid to later 2019. So it was like kind of near the end of 2019, around the time COVID hit, is when I really started just taking off with speedrunning.
Mm-hmm. And then so TAS was that before the whole SRCom account, or was that sort of in between the account and discovering SMB1?
I think it was like in between, like around the time I created the account. So sort of like in between that time.
Yeah, I've tried tasking as well. It's a lot of fun. It's kind of weird seeing it the first time, like all the inputs sort of rolling down that little view, but
Yeah, yeah.
it's really cool in the end. So yeah, just wrapping up here, I guess. That's it for me. Thank you so much for joining me today for this. Learned a lot for sure, and a lot of great people to shout out as well. So that's really cool. I also didn't know about that Guinness World Record plaque. That's pretty cool as well. It's a brand new edition, you said. Thank you as well for you guys watching at home. Make sure to subscribe to Niftski for more epic speedruns and TAS videos heading your way, and support him on his journey towards tying the any percent TAS and beyond. And remember to keep going onwards and upwards.